Okay, so today we're going to talk about this. This is the Goldensound edition of the Status Pro X True Wireless Noise Cancelling Earbuds. Now, obviously, this is Cameron's collab with Status, so he's not going to be reviewing this product. Cameron is a colleague and a friend of mine, and I helped with some of the data process for tuning this IEM, so I'm also not going to be reviewing this product. Instead, I'm going to shill it. That's the word I'm looking for. So for this one, you're going to want to get your unbiased information somewhere else. What I'm going to talk about here is what this is, and importantly, why this is. So let's get going with the video. Okay, so the Status Pro X Goldensound Edition is a true wireless in-ear earbud. The idea here is that there's not really that many good sounding true wireless IEMs available, or true wireless in-ears available. And it's not because these devices can't sound good or the fact that they're, wireless or have some sort of limitation to do with codecs or anything like that. It's because regularly companies have some misunderstandings about what good sound is when it comes to in-ear headphones. And we've seen meaningful improvements in this area in the wired IEM space to the point where we now finally have some actually natural and good sounding in-ear headphones in the wired space. And also that new trend towards the JM1 diffuse field baseline. You can think of this as sort of like an anatomical neutral baseline that previously just didn't exist. And basically the world of wired IEMs has figured a lot of things out that the true wireless space is like many years behind on. And so the idea or the pitch with the Status Pro X Goldensound Edition is that this is finally an in-ear true wireless ANC device that fits with modern evaluative standards, and of course tuned by making use of the latest industry standard headphone measurement system, the Brüel & Kjær 5128. And as you can see, the Pro X GSE is pretty similar in the mids and the treble to the Crin Ear Reference, which is one of my daily driver IEMs. It's just got a bit more bass and some kick down low. Now, if you're wondering how did this product come to be, the Status Audio, they're a company out of New York. They approached Cameron because he is the man with the golden stuff, and they wanted to make a golden thing with him. So effectively, Cameron identified somewhat of a hole in the true wireless market where very few products go for this kind of sound signature. In fact, one of the only true wireless ANC products that did this was the Apple AirPods Pro 2. And if you weren't an Apple user, you had basically different versions of V-shape to choose from. And I know there are a couple of other ones out there that exist that are aiming for a more balanced and natural presentation overall, but all of the ones that I have tried have some meaningful deal breaker to do with the sound quality specifically, like ridiculous length mode resonances, but that's a whole topic for another video that I'm actually working on right now. The main point is that for all the true wireless in-ears with ANC that I get sent, almost all of them end up having meaningful exaggerations. In fact, even Apple's own next product in line for that AirPods Pro line also had a more V-shaped bass and treble focused, quite unnatural presentation. So that's just abundant in the market, where something like this, it either didn't exist, or if it did, there were drawbacks and compromises in other areas. And so that's what they've targeted with this device. So how does it sound? Well, this is where I'm going to direct you to many of the other reviews that are going to be coming out about this product. But from my perspective, it's a sound signature that allows the mid-range to be the star of the show, which so often in these devices is not the case. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not about the bass, because as you can see from the measurements, this is again more bass than the Crin Ear Reference, for example, and more mid and upper bass than the Crin Ear Daybreak, which was more focused towards the sub bass. But again, for anybody who is interested in true wireless ANC products, this is a device that sounds more like the current trend in wired IEMs than just about any other TWS ANC device on the market. But that's the sound quality out of the way. If you will indulge me, the why of this. Let me get momentarily more nerdy than I typically do. This feels like it should be punishment. JM1 diffuse field is a way to understand in-ear headphone performance that more accurately considers the outer ear pin anatomy of the average person than if it were to just use the anatomy of any specific ear, like what we get with the industry standard test fixtures. This is important because with in-ear headphones, we insert them into our ears, bypassing the pinna geometry that our brains expect to filter the sound on its way to the eardrum. So any features contributed by the pinna that should be there, based on how we just naturally hear the world, need to be assumed by the in-ear device as part of its tuning. Manufacturers need to guess what that's going to be. The core principle behind JM1, and what we're doing now with the Headphones.com IEM diffuse field baseline, is that If we just assume the pinna features of the measurement rig's ear, that's only going to work for that head and ears, not the average person's. So instead, we want to be evaluating and tuning IEMs based on the average pinna features identified in the ISO 11904-1 standard to be a better fit for most people. And we can combine this with the B&K 5 2/8's more advanced ear canal contribution to get the most accurate results currently possible. So you could think of this as having, for the mids and for the treble, an anatomically appropriate sound signature. And this is foundational to the new tuning philosophy that, again, many in-ear headphones, wired in-ear headphones, have already been adopting, but the true wireless space has yet to recognize and really catch up to that until now. So that is what this is and why. But this is also, of course, a true wireless device with all kinds of functions and features, including noise canceling. And so let me detail some of those here for you. So number one, obviously it has noise canceling. I've been testing this. The noise canceling is decent, but I would not say that this is class leading like, AirPods Pro 3 or something like that. If you really care about the most noise canceling, that's not what this product is. Now, it's also comfortable. When I put it in my ear, I'm able to wear this for long periods of time. I find this more comfortable than the majority of wireless in-ear headphone products, and it doesn't look stupid. Like, it doesn't draw undue attention. They went for a more muted and matte kind of aesthetic with the colorway here. Again, I'm more averse to shiny things. I'm like the opposite of a goldfish. The visual here is meant to be a bit more understated and not gaudy like some other golden things that I've evaluated in the past. It has touch controls that I can fully disable. Thank you. For somebody whose job it is to test these products, I can't tell you how freaking annoying it is when you just touch it and then it starts playing a track while you're trying to test it. And you're like, stop. And while it does have wear sensors to make it so that your music pauses when you take it out of your ear, you can turn all that stuff off. So that's one of the major things about this that I love. This has the ability to stop all of the bullshit going on. For the connectivity, this does have a high-res codec. This has LDAC available to you. Another highlight here is that the battery life is roughly 24 hours with the case and everything. The IEM itself, or the device itself, holds 8 hours, but it also charges quickly when you put it into the case. So 15 minutes in the case gives you roughly 2 hours of playback time. And it does have multi-point Bluetooth connectivity, and it works seamlessly. I use this every day. Lastly, they also added volume-dependent dynamic equalization as an option. So if you listen more quietly, it'll give you more bass and treble. If you listen more loud, it will reduce the bass and treble. Now, by the time you're watching this, pre-orders will be available for the Status Pro X Goldensound Edition. You'll be able to find this if you're in the United States at headphones.com, but if you're not in the US, you'll be able to find this at status.co. Now, I want to conclude this video by just reiterating that this is Cameron's tuning here, but it does fit reasonably well with our evaluative standard, which would make sense, right? I mean, he's on our team, he's reviewing products with us. It would be weird if he tuned it very differently, but it does have his sort of stamp of editorialization on it a little bit, particularly the bass. I'm personally very curious how other folks are going to find this one. So if you get a chance to hear it, let me know in the comments below how this sounds to you. And does this sound similar to some of the better wired IEMs that you've come across? Because to me, it does. To me, it's right in that ballpark, and it's what I look for in sound signatures generally. But all ears are different, so let me know what you think down in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.